Hi friends, it's Odd the Code Witch, and I wanted to try something a little different this week, a little video blog sort of thing. As I was reading and researching over the week, I realized that we made a mistake in COVIDiary Part 3. And so I went in and fixed those, and because they were small but significant changes, I thought I would walk you through them real quickly. So basically, the issue that I came across was that we named our Booleans in a way that's not aligned with best practices. So, for example, in our users table, we did essential ? And as it turns out, the proper format is and then whatever our noun is. So this would be like is essential. And so basically, I just want to show you how quickly I went in and fixed those. I also added another column in our entries table that will come in handy next week. So I'm going to link to this in the actual written portion of this blog, but this was one of the articles that I read, and it was kind of interesting talking about how to choose the way you name your Booleans. So I'll link to that. I thought it was a helpful resource. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix the improper Boolean names. We're going to add the isPublic Boolean, run our migrations, update the seed file, and reset the database. So, and I've commented all of this out because I already did this. So we did 3 separate migrations so that each migration only made one change to the database, keeping to that single use principle. So in my terminal, I ran this line here, Rails G migration, fix symptoms present. It created this migration file for me. And then following the this format, this is how we did it. So we renamed column, then table name is entries. The old name was symptoms present, and the new name is symptomatic. So we could have done, I don't know why I did that. We could have done is symptoms present. That would have also been aligned with best practices, but I can't stand that because I'm an English major. So I had to do some thinking and tweak the word so it is more grammatically correct. And is symptomatic means the exact same thing. So that's that one. Then back into my terminal, I ran another migration, Rails G migration, fix essential. Our migration files should be named such that they tell us what they are doing. Again, following that same rename column convention, rename column users, essential, and we change it to is essential. So that was pretty easy. Fix the improper Boolean names, done. Now we're going to add is public as a Boolean to the entries. The reason why we're going to do this is next week when I show you how I set up the routes and the controllers, I want the users to be able to access their own personal entries, and then also all of the COVIDiary entries that have been made public by other users. To do that, we need a way to allow the users to decide if they want to share their private thoughts or not. So we create another migration, Rails G migration, add is public to entries, and then here I let it pre-populate by telling what we want. So is public would be our name that we want, and then Boolean is obviously the type, the data type. So it came up with all of this, and it came up with add column to here. So I decided that as a default, I don't think that we should be sharing users' thoughts without their explicit permission. So I added a default value. And to do that, simply added a comma, default : false. So now anytime a new entry is generated, it's going to start out with a false value for being public, and then the user can go in and adjust that. Okay, So at that point, I ran my migrations, Rails DB migrate. And then I also had to go in and update our seed file, because before we had this as essential ? And we had this one is as symptoms present ? So I just changed those. And then I also added another line for is public. Now I am going to go back in to this blog post and update the code. And I'll probably add a comment saying that this is changed from before and see this post, whatever, so that if you're just now starting, you don't have to make these changes. You'll just do it right from the get-go. All right, so then following that, I reset my database with Rails DB reset. And what this does is it drops the old database, it restarts it, remigrates everything, and then it seeds the database again with all new data. So because we haven't actually used this at all, we can just reset the database. It's not going to hurt anything. You obviously would not want to use this if you had users already who have put their information in there, because it will delete it all. Whoops. See, like it's going to do right now because I accidentally hit enter. So drop the database. It gives you these warnings sometimes, and it takes a moment. But I can actually show you when it's done. So it creates a new one. And it's done. All right, so now I can go in and open my database. I really like this tool that that RubyMine has. Sorry, drawing a blank today. It's Friday. So we can go in, open our users table, and we'll see that it came up with a bunch of things. Our seed file worked right. And now it's is essential with our Booleans in there. So that worked. If you don't have it where you can easily see the data like this, you can also just play around in your console with Rails C. It's going to open it, and I'm just going to do u equals user.first. This is going to pull up our very first user. It's going to tell us what it is, and we can do what is this one? Is essential. Now, I like the question mark because it reminds me that it's going to either be true or false. And the nice thing is Ruby knows that people like that. And so you can do this with a Boolean and it's going to be able to tell you true or false. You can also just do is essential without the question mark, but I think it tells you, or it's more of a hint to whoever's reading your code, that the question mark there, you're expecting a true or false value. All right, so that is it. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you like this type of blog format on Twitter @oddthecodewitch, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.